Titles a Monday edition. Yeah, I got it. G's listening. HFR from the floor, mistrade. Matt Davio. And participants allowed in. Congratulations, KC, on a Super Bowl win. I wouldn't call it one for the ages, but
so funny because I thought it was a great game.
It was a great game until we argued about it. I thought it was a fucking marginal call at the end to flip the game.
That's the mainstream narrative. I guess you sucked into it. You were sucking on the tailpipe. Watch the play. Even the Eagles guy said, "Yeah, I held him. I was hoping I didn't get everybody who's a
I'm with you, Lee. Horrid.
Everybody who's a Jim Cramer. You guys are just Jim Cramer fans. That's your problem.
No, not a Jim Cramer fan. I thought it was.
Congratulations to me. Because I want to,
unreal. Yeah, I am the worst gambler ever. Even a bet that I didn't even want. We were just.
I didn't want it either, but you picked it.
I know. That's how bad I am, though. We were just talking about heads or tails. Tails never fails, so I'll take heads, and then why don't we parlay it? So I picked the three losing sides of the fucking parlay. All three of them. They were my pick. I mean.
I love tweeting you right when the game started saying you're done.
Over. Exactly. And I said that right away. Somebody's a fucking loser on the coin flip. That was me. I was close. On some square pools. But
again, it's not hand grenades.
Fucking unreal. Unreal. I will say this, that Patrick Mahomes, it is not easy to play with that high ankle sprain.
And I think that was the opposite ankle too. Because I think it was
the one that he hurt by the TJ Edwards tackle.
Yeah, the one last week. Yeah, well, the one last week was his left. This was his right. So he's got two high ankle sprains and two MVPs now in his closet. So. And on any given Sunday also goes out with his first Super Bowl ring.
Nice little paycheck too to get rid of it. All right, let me share, Matt. I got to share.
What a career for Chad Henne. That's what we should be talking about. I mean, what a career.
I mean, listen, if you can,
guy was around for about 15 years. Started great backup. Senior backup for Mahomes, and what a gig! You cannot beat it.
Great gig. Let me share.
Yeah.
Let me share. All right, Matt, I want to share this because this kind of reminded me of trading. They call you in to manage your position, and they're like, we got a snake here. We want you to come and grab it and pull it out. So you walk in.
Another reason I don't want to go
and you grab it.
Another reason I don't want to go to Asia because they're just in the pipes over there.
Are you kidding me?
The size of that thing. Jesus.
I think it's more than one.
I don't know. I only see one head so far.
Oh yeah.
I think those hard hats are going to help those guys.
Thank you. Thank you. No. Thank you. No. Oh. Thank you. No. Two tails. You're right, Lee. I'm with you on that. There was two tails on it. Two tails.
I'm not a psychologist like you two.
Let's get to some price discovery early in the show rather than later. And let me bring it in here.
Trend Day Monday. It's really exciting out there.
Matt, here, according to Waste Management staff, there's already been 7.2 million beers drank. There was a lot. Did you see some of the cup snakes going up and around? Oh yeah, my God. Unreal. Great win by Scotty Scheffler. A top 10 win, another top 10 win for mistrade on his PGA betting protocol.
Yes.
You just bet the top 10 because the odds usually are if one of them wins, you win a little bit of money.
Yeah, and this was just Scotty was in the middle of the top 10 odds at plus 1,300. So yeah, you win 30% on your bet. You bet 100 on each guy. That's 1,000 laid to come away with 1,300. What the heck?
What's wrong with that? Nothing.
And,
Matt, we haven't talked.
And then you top the Super Bowl victory over you and Kramer, and just sweeter than ever.
just a big day. It's just a huge payday.
Big day, huge payday.
We have not looked at beer stocks in a while, and I actually thought the Blue Moon ad was the best ad.
I don't remember that one.
Oh, it was, you thought it was a Miller Lite or Bud Light commercial until the very end, because they're
I also like the Busch commercial, which is a Budweiser commercial.
Yeah, that one was good too.
With Sarah McLachlan in the tent making fun of the whole.
Yeah, that was
good. That was the only male friendly commercial in the whole thing again.
Hey, listen, Matt, listen, I want to just go on the record right now. I am not a racist. I love white people. And I know that's not part of the narrative anymore, but it's you know.
Good Lord. Budweiser, again, probably, spiked into the event there. We went from 44 up here to 61. A nice move, really, from September. You bought the start of the season and you sell the end. I think that's the trade. So
I will write that down, Lee, for next year.
Yep.
Buy beer, football opening kickoff, sell it Super Bowl Sunday or Monday, Super Bowl Monday. That's a well distributed profile too. Do they pay a dividend?
They probably do. It's not very little, 0.67, not even 1%.
Come on, Bud, man, you got to do better than that. That's ridiculous.
And they're making money, for God's sake.
Oh, come on. Listen, 0.6 was like 21.20 when interest rates were zero. You can't. They cannot keep on that tack.
We haven't talked about an old favorite, which was Sam Adams, which was through the roof during COVID times because apparently people were drunker than ever. But
and they had the whole Truly thing, right?
Yeah, they had the whole seltzer going on. And we remember how we were so like, this is going back to boom. Well, and again, the COVID lows we're taking out. I mean, we basically
that is the most preposterous chart. And in mid stride when it was happening, it was preposterous.
It was preposterous. Yeah. I mean, but again, they don't pay a dividend even, and still $4.5 billion market cap. So it was, what was that? It was 4x, 5x that. It was a $20 billion company. Hopefully they did some crazy financing and bought some smaller brewers with that funny money at least. So they bought up some market share that they can, bury now because there's too many beers as it is, right?
Well, I don't know about that because just before Prohibition, I know in the last 5 years or so, we just retook over the number of breweries there were pre-Prohibition.
Really?
And there's a hell of a lot more people than pre-Prohibition. And honestly, I think that whole craft beer movement is the movement that shows you what can be done when you take the handcuffs off and let communities be self-sufficient. Right. They started it with beer. Why can't it be everything? Why can't it be
beer, like you said, beer's biggest competition now is all the seltzers and all the, I mean, watch last night. When did they, because for, I think almost 20 years, you could not advertise hard alcohol on TV. And now that's fully back. I mean, shit, you had Serena Williams doing whiskey and Remy.
Right on. Cavassier.
I mean, the brandy. The
For
brandy.
sure, targeted. Those ads were targeted.
So targeted.
And there's nothing, by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's your audience, targeted. Like, somehow, if you target white people, you're a racist, though.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, let me, speaking of Ohio.
Did you see the stripper though? The nude dude walking, running around in his marble bag at the Waste Management Saturday?
I did.
He was great because the cops it was on that 16th hole and
right
in the grandstand. So he's just running around in his marble bag, and the fans are going bananas, of course, just going bananas. And he ended up, swimming away from those guys into the pond. Right. And he's on like the W out there and he's just going nuts and the cops are like on the shore just waiting for him to come out.
Like sooner or later, dude. Sooner or later, you gotta come home.
I mean, if you're gonna do that and go to jail and have to pay the fine and all that, you might as well go out big if you're gonna be crazy like that.
All right, Matt. Speaking of crazy, today was the first time I've seen anything about this story.
Well, I posted quite a bit on it last Thursday, Friday. And then over the weekend, I had a few that I posted.
Anyway, a giant train derailment. They actually lit it up because they were afraid it was going to explode. A major environmental catastrophe, and Stugatz being talked about anywhere.
Well, they were actually arresting people who were trying to cover the story and broadcast it. They were arresting any citizen journalists who were around. They're just grabbing them and putting in the paddy wagon. So there's no doubt this is a blatant.
How crazy is that this is what America has become?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? I'm just telling you what's going on here. Like, that's illegal now?
Yeah.
Well, there's price discovery, Matt, and it's held widely by a lot of the elite mega funds or conglomerations of money. But it's Norfolk Southern, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Was the train? So we haven't looked at it. And some of the threads were talking about how they shut down the rail strike, and part of the rail strike was all about safety. And this train literally had a wheel fall off. It just fell off.
Yeah, again, final, the shipping is important, 113 to 299 over COVID. Now it's sitting right around 240. It's still pretty bullish. But it does look on the downside to me. I might want to buy it if it got down to kind of that 150 to 190 area, maybe. There's a little bit more support up down in there, Bob. But had a spike down that got rebought. So somebody just came in and said, "Oh, that's going to go away," and so far it has.
Do they pay a dividend?
2%. Yep.
Again, come on, join the times.
Yep.
Join the times. The 2 years kicking your ass on your dividend.
Yep.
Unreal. Matt, back to let me just share this. We talked education last week and how pathetic it is. All of Baltimore can't read it or can't do math at a fifth grade level. But I thought the Manji TV share here, maybe we start with education. Organic Live Food had tweeted out marketing directly to children, bypassing parents, yada, yada, yada. But the stat is the average American child can recognize 1,000 corporate logos.
I'm going to be right back.
But cannot identify 10 plants or animals native to their own region. And I'll go back to my thought process on changing the world, one brewery at a time, because the craft beer movement really was the first one. Once the regulations got pulled out of the system, and by that I mean, after Prohibition, if you wanted to you couldn't self-distribute. First of all, you could not self-distribute. And everything on a distribution level had to go through a distributorship. The Wirtz family in Chicago profited giantly for several generations out of Prohibition because they got one of the distributorship licenses. Like, don't tell me that wasn't rub your elbows and who do you know to get a liquor distribution. So the model was set up for it to be a monopoly, a natural monopoly. Once they took that off, once people sued at the state level for self-distribution of beer, this incredible thing happened. All of a sudden, we have as many breweries as there were pre-Prohibition. And it was strictly because of the regulations involved. I say that because when you look at the food distribution model, and by the way, this is a complicated issue. This isn't just cut and dry because mechanization in food, and I saw a couple shares on LinkedIn recently. It's insane, the mechanization in food production, and that's why we have as many people on the planet and nobody's starving comparatively. So there's a yin and a yang to it. All I'm saying is that you get what you pay for. And if your kids are uneducated about their food system, but they can recognize 1,000 corporate logos, maybe that's where we start with rearranging the system. Anyway, also, Matt, I don't know if you saw this, but this in from the military, they found the first releases of what was actually going on and what they're shooting down. It's just been drones flying fuck Biden flags. I didn't know if you do that or not. They don't want to tell you about the train derailment, and they don't want to tell you about what's really flying up there. Elon said it was just some of his friends, but
Right.
aliens and friends. But this release from the military complex recently, another story they don't want you to know. Anyway,
We were talking about Norfolk. I just thought I'd give you some of those actual. Here's your top institutional owners. You said Vanguard, BlackRock, JP. You're pretty much bang, bang, bang. And they own, respectively, just those three own 7, 13, 20, a fifth of all the stock, just in those top three holdings. So,
and those companies also own a giant portion of the media infrastructure in this country. And
sure.
You wonder why nobody's covering this. There's a little indication of it.
Yeah, let's see. Let's just compare it to the Disney, because it's a major media company. Let's just start there. And again, Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street. So again, if you don't think you're fighting the insiders here, you're not awake. You are not awake.
As I said in my "We're Just Like Dogs" song, you live asleep is another way of saying it. You live asleep. Matt, with that, let me just point this out, because we talk about it all the time. It's just trust. Trust is the problem. Trust is what's broken. And this was from way back in the Wayback Machine, right? JP Morgan CEO warns U.S. is headed towards something worse than a recession. 9/15/22. Thank you for that warning. But this one was even more telling about why there's zero trust. U.S. Virgin Islands has said that JP Morgan knowingly, negligently, and unlawfully provided and pulled the levers through which recruiters and victims were paid, and was indispensable to the operation and concealment of Epstein's trafficking enterprise. I don't need to read it again. I mean, this is the same group that is shutting down, as far as logic would dictate, shutting down the story around a major climate catastrophe unfolding in Ohio.
Right. And then yet they'll cover, John Kerry and Al Snore in Davos complaining about climate. Yet why not deal with the issue on the ground?
Wait a second. Al Schnorr. I can't believe I've never heard that one before. I mean, I call him Al Gorleone.
Yeah, I prefer Al Snore, because he's been saying the same shit for 50 years and he's never been right. It's like listening to Kramer.
Al Snore.
Yeah.
Al Snore. All right, man, we got CPI tomorrow. Let's talk a little.
Well, they've changed the way that they look at the numbers. So, they do that because it's legally, they're the same numbers, but somehow those numbers are going to benefit them. But I think ultimately it's going to backfire and disbenefit the Fed, right? So that's the whole problem, is that it's just not.
Well, I got an interesting setup here, because the daily is telling me, and a recapture of the week, all these things are pointing that we should go test that high in 43.25 in the SPOOs. And the only thing that I think that can seriously derail that is a number that is just
out
of control.
I don't think we can get to 43.25 until we close over 43.15 or 42.15, but okay. And we can't go lower until we close over 40.50. That's all you need to know. 42.15, 40.50. That's the closing numbers for a daily and a weekly that you really want to see. If you're bullish, you want to see it above. If you're bearish, you want to see it below. Everything in between is ping pong right now. So I don't see anything clearly. This is a very difficult market for good traders. If you're not a good trader, you probably should pause, because we're really directionless. And there's not, we go up a day, down a day, up a day, down a day. Rarely 2 days or the same direction. So and we've been like that for almost 3 weeks, and I think we've just been waiting for the CPI, and that's tomorrow morning. So gosh, I hope we do something. I hope we break out of that range. But the volume is really dying and the volatility is gone in this market. So if you're an intraday trader, you may want to find something else to do with your time, because it's either we're going up or going down, and we're trending. That's all we do, is we have these slow trend days until we don't, and then we wait for the news. So we're 3 hours left in this fine Monday, and we've just been going up all day. Finally got a little sell off here, over the last hour.
Yeah, it's trying to roll over a little bit here on some of my shorter time frames. Not quite yet, but
we'll see.
We shall see. And that CPI is the 7:30 number. So it comes out before the stock market opens.
5:30 on the Pacific. Yeah.
Right on.
It's just like the jobs.
And then did I share this? Let me share it. Because we talk prop bets for the Super Bowl. And this is just, let's just call it what it is. This is the Merck understands one thing. Their revenue is driven by volume, right?
Yeah.
And when they have something that attracts volume, they want to do more of it. And this is the greatest prop bet ever. Micro, E-mini, S&P, NASDAQ 100 micros also now tradable every day. It used to be Monday, Friday, or just Fridays. Yeah, it was just Fridays for the micros. You could do Friday micro options. Now you could, every single day there's an options expiration for you prop bettors out there. It's almost like and
honestly, that's why I think we've been so brutalized, because of all these end of the day options. Not just there, but they're much bigger on the retail side, on the SPY and the XSP. People are trading those like they're chiclets.
Well, you know what? It's almost like binary. It's a way to binary is just with money against money. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah. But they're all playing for big moves, and then so therefore the big moves get squelched. They're not coming. Everybody can't make 10x on their options every day. So that's what's killing this market right now. And that will continue until people are carried out on stretchers, and they're going to slowly carry them out on stretchers because they enjoy the volume, obviously, as the exchange.
Yeah, the exchange. Why don't we bring up we looked at the CME a couple of weeks ago, but anything, and I actually thought that the CME stock would perform better with the increased trade on the curve and in the bonds. Bring up the CME.
Well, actually, I'm going to bring up the CBOE, because I think that's where most of these are trading. The volume, the stuff you're talking about in the CMA, is not leading. It is the CBOE, XSP, SPIX, all those options. And again, the CBOE has just been kind of chopping up here as they're printing money left and right, paying a dividend of 1.6%.
Again, come on, get with reality.
Yeah, and again, the low for COVID was down here in 72 or so, and got up here to 140, and now it's just hanging at the top. I mean, it's been hanging up here for quite a while as the trading volumes continue to be high, and when this starts dipping over, that tells you that trading volumes are dipping lower, right? But right now they're at the highs, so fade at your own peril. But again, I think this tells you everything you need to know, especially, I mean, this has been going on for almost a year, where we've just been in this 10-point range, 120, 130, 120, 130, 120, 130, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times.
Wow, that is staggering.
Yeah.
Staggeringly efficient, actually. The micros S&P and NASDAQ are available now. They've launched them. You can trade every option on a daily basis for expiration.
And then the CME is, the futures exchange has gone from 257 down here, back into the value zone, 168. So it looks a little different. And if you want an opportunity and you think that these volumes are going to continue into the futures space, futures and commodities, this would be the play for you. And that's kind of been touching in here. And again, you might have missed the real good buy opportunity here at 170 as we're looking at it now, but it looks like it wants to drift back up towards 200. So it might not be a bad place to buy it. Any dips that you get and that stuff look buyable. Chips and dips, double Gallagher. All right, Matt, I wanted to jump to the Manja TV kitchen. There was a couple of great shares for Super Bowl parties where people absolutely smashed
some Cajun shrimp. And every time I see one of those, my heart warms when people are sharing. Oh, bingo, right into the kitchen. But what I wanted to share, it's amazing to me how you go through life and then you see something and you're like, how the fuck have I never even heard of that before? We talk about it on this all the time. But this is the one I want to share today because somebody shared it and I'm like, I have never heard of that. And they call it a Pittsburgh style steak. All right. Well, when I saw this and I read about it, I said, wait a second. When I was growing up, we had a different word for that. We didn't call it a Pittsburgh style steak. We said,
you called it blackened.
Yeah, you burned the fuck out of that thing.
Yeah.
I mean, how's Pittsburgh style steak where you just, you forget about it? This is
the bad chef put on a little bit too much sugar.
Exactly. You put the steaks on the grill. The grill was hot like it's supposed to be. And then you went to do something else and you forgot about the steak, right? And then you flip it over and you want to be consistent. So you char the other side and then you put it on a plate and people are like, what the hell is this? And you say, it's a Pittsburgh style steak. Oh, you mean you burned the fuck out of it and now you're just calling it something else.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I wanted to use this as a segue because we do have CPI tomorrow. And one thing I noticed, speaking of steak, is cattle prices across the board are through the frickin' roof. I mean, I spent a lot of years in Chicago and cattle prices obviously ebbed and flowed with supply and demand like they should. But right now the whole curve is, I mean, August is the cheapest on the board. You can bring up the front month if you want, but August is trading a 159.25.
Why don't you bring it in then if you have it there?
I don't have it in a chart that I can share because I would be giving away steak trade secrets. So you bring it in. Any LE, anything that you want. What I want to point out though is that forever cattle basically went from like 90 to 120 on the sine wave, right? And now the cheapest on the board is August at 159.25. The most expensive Feb of 23 at 170. I mean, these are cattle prices that are just staggering. They're staggering. And
I'm not able to bring up anything here either.
You are killing me.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
He's killing me, folks.
Oh, here we go. I finally got it.
My point is too that as a retail steak lover, you're unfortunately at the mercy of the giant fast food companies, McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King. They buy and trade in the vast majority of cattle production. I mean, look at these charts.
Bullish has been since last summer. So, but there's no inflation.
I just wanted to bring this up because for sure in these foodstuffs, there has been no reprieve. No. Oil has come back, fine, natural gas has come back, but hogs and cattle, forget about it. They are still through the roof.
Yeah.
And eggs, by the way. Egg me this. We don't trade eggs anymore. They used to trade eggs in Chicago, but there was so much tomfoolery going on around the contracts that I think the regulators forced them to delist the contracts. That and pork bellies, same thing. Anyway, look at that.
Yeah, speaking of that, though, I do want to bring up OJ because those actually were off. I saw it earlier, about 70%. So that might have put in the top finally. So let's just toss that out there and see where we are. 269-ish last week. Yeah, that looks done. This is a classic blow off commodity run, and it felt like that. We were talking about it. That was an all-time high, right? And 267. Now it's coming right back down. It'll probably settle back into this 200 level. Have a little battle, a little discussion there for a little bit. Once 200 goes, it's going to zoom right back down. Maybe.
Guaranteed, probably.
Well, I mean, again, vitamin C was at a deficiency when COVID started. All you had to do is start taking some C and D and get out into the sun. You probably would have been fine if you were healthy. But that went threefold, 91 to 267. So vitamin C went to the premium spot and has come off considerably. I mean, that's a 15% come off already in the last 3 days.
Any more trading in butter? All right.
Yeah.
That's what we got. Anything else, Matt? Anything else on your mind?
Let's see, what do we got? Michigan continued their 5th year in a row, 6th maybe. The Iron D, which is the battle in Detroit versus Michigan. Michigan State in hockey. Michigan swept the Sparty up in East Lansing on Friday, and then they came to Little Steve Sleezers on Saturday and beat them there again for the clean sweep. I think for the season. So poor little bro.
Little bro, not a hockey school.
Not a hockey. It used to be their thing.
Really?
It used to be beef and hockey is what the Moo U was known for.
And hotel management, no?
Yeah, but it was more veterinary. It was more about big animals and farming. I mean, when we were there in school in the 80s, we called it Moo U. I mean, it was definitely an agricultural college at one point. And,
for sure, absolutely. Yeah. And by the way, an insane amount of fertile farmland all around it.
Yeah, great farmland up there in central Lower Peninsula, not far from the Lake Huron balloon shooting or whatever they're trying to tell, whatever the story is today. If you can't see that these narratives are totally like loaded out there, let's see if they buy this one. Let's see if they're ready for the aliens that we're going to bring out eventually. Let's just see if they're ready.
The aliens is too well telegraphed. I don't see that one flying.
24. I think that it's got a crescendo into it, right?
Yeah.
It's got a
my thought was, the Chinese, why don't they just send 1 million balloons up? I mean, they can do it.
They're probably our own balloons, clearly. I mean,
they can make them, right? Like there was just send 1 million up. How are we going to be able to track 1 million balloons?
Seriously, if you have some, swampland in Northern Ontario, I'm not buying it because that's what you're selling again. It's just garbage.
All right. That's all we got. Listen, please go to Amazon.com and buy some Shrimp Mojo. You can use it on steak and you can actually cook a Pittsburgh steak anytime you want with the Shrimp Mojo.
You would probably go 2-to-1 on the brown sugar though to get that extra Pittsburgh look though, right?
Well, listen to me. If you go 2-to-1 on the brown sugar, the cook time gets reduced to.
Well, no, but it's all about. But in this case, we're talking just Pittsburgh steaks, so you got to burn the shit out of it. So you need more sugar.
Yes, more sugar will burn faster. Correct. You are correct. Yeah. A pound available. Pounds of rub. That's what we got. Pounds of rub. Rub everything.
I rubbed some pork chops on Saturday and they were fantastic.
I bet they were. I'll bet that. You know what I like doing is giving the pork chops a bath and pick your moisture, right? I actually like using like a sweet beer and the rub. Fantastic. Just let them sit in the bath for several hours, soaking in that gorgeous flavor. That's what we got. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Matt. Please join us at marketbubbles.io. Please share, retweet, and please go to Amazon.com, search Shrimp Mojo. Buy yourself some rub. Do yourself a favor, cook someone a meal. And that's it. Thank you.